I'm Nicole from Rockwell Automation, and we're here to talk about results achieved. I'm joined by Brian from Pearson Packaging to talk about some results that they've achieved. Hey, Brian.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Pearson Packaging?
Sure. I'm Brian Patrick. I'm Vice President of Pearson Packaging. We are a packaging provider or a machine provider for the industry. We do erect, pack, palletize, and seal.
I know we've worked with you for a very long time. We were just talking about that, and we're grateful to have you as a great customer of ours. But recently, we started a project together around Emulate 3D, and Pearson, being the forward thinkers you are, had some great ideas. Can you tell us how you've applied it?
Sure. We brought it in to really boost our processes and kind of take our work up one level. Prior to having Emulate 3D, we did all of our work on the shop floor when the machine was being built. And we were looking for ways to have more machine turn. And how do you do that? Well, we bring that process forward. So Emulate gave us the ability to build out the digital world and be ready for the machine when it hit the shop floor and was actually ready for the programs. So we come already ready to run all the recipes, already ready to test the machines, and already knowing what to expect from the operation.
That's great. So workforce right now, I know, is changing a lot, both for our customers and also for OEMs. Has that helped at all with how you manage your workforce and your staff?
It absolutely has. Although it's a tool for us in engineering, we've extended it to a couple different places in our business. We use it for training. We found that it's a great tool to bring other engineers on board as we're onboarding process, or bringing engineers over from a different product line. They can review, they can do tests in the environment, they can really do everything that they need to do out on the floor before actually touching machines. It's also an extension for us in our service environment. We use it a lot for troubleshooting in the field. When customers call, one of the things that we typically do is we will load the code from the machines in the field so that we have the digital twin in front of us. And we're using that as we're working with the customers. That helps us in a lot of ways. We have immediate support. And oftentimes we can avoid deploying expensive resources like engineering by just walking through and being able to see what they're seeing on their other end.
I love that. I mean, keeping your engineering staff working on your machines that's number one goal, I'm sure.
Absolutely. That is probably one of the number one goals for myself. When we had Emulate come to us for the first time, that was one of the key strategies I was looking at, was to be able to keep the engineers in the building. I can do so much more with them there than I can deploy them to field environments to solve, the latest problems. So the tool for us was able to do a lot in data collection, and also being able to really put the machines through scenarios that we may not have seen. They may have changed products in the field and run products that we have never seen before. That helps us bring it back in without having to build another physical machine.
Oh, that's interesting. So it sounds like having Emulate 3D and like a digital twin model makes it more agile for the customer?
It is. So if we get customers who come in and they make a change on their machine, which they often do and we don't know about, sometimes they might be running a very difficult product and we may not understand what difficulties they're seeing. We will try to put it through the Emulate tool first and understand kind of where they're at, really kind of before even deploying anybody, so that we can understand what we need to do. Do we need to do something for the machine? Can we help them right there at that moment in time?
That's neat. So your service has really gone up because you understand so much more about the customer.
Yes, it's really become an extension of the engineering department. For us, it's an everyday tool now. It is as often as CAD is, and so for us, it's really interesting to see engineers, wanting to use it and even fighting over licenses. So
that's good. We want that fight over those licenses. Get some more licenses. Could you tell us? I know you were mentioning some results as you're talking, which is great. Like getting machines completed faster, testing done faster. Could you elaborate a little bit about how has this impacted your business and impacted your customers?
Sure. So obviously, I think one of the things that most businesses look at is all their work in process and how that turns. And the machines sitting on the floor don't make money, right? They don't make money for us. They don't make money for the end customer. The end customer wants their machine. They want to be able to run it. So this, like I said, this was all of our process. And how do you we have a lot of strategies in place on how do you reduce lead times. And this is one of the key ones. one of the things, to give an example, when we're doing palletizing and we're doing multiple SKUs on palletizing, you're running through many recipes. If you have to do that robot code by hand and test each one of those recipes, you could eat up half a day per recipe while you're testing it. Our engineers have built up the confidence now with Emulate to where we can build all the recipes ahead of time. Nice thing is we can run it 10 times the speed or 100 times the speed, so we can go through all the SKUs, test out, and then have engineers go to the shop floor and confidently drop their code in and not have their hands on the robot controller. That was actually one of the key metrics that we were looking at, was how often does an engineer stand there at slow speed versus being able just to start a machine up. So for us, we've been able to gain confidence in the tool with our code, so that we don't have engineers that are wondering, wow, I wonder if this is going to work. I hope I don't crash the robot, right? And so that's really kind of drawing us pretty far down the road to be able to keep the turn rates on our machines pretty high.
All right, so keeping turn rates high, reducing engineer time at slow speed. Did you have other KPIs that you were working toward?
Yeah, so one of the bigger KPIs that we see is floor space. We have different machines that come through that take up different amounts of floor space, but on average, we have a metric that we look at. It's about $1,800 per day of floor space for a particular machine. And so if that machine's sitting there, if nobody's working on it, if they're not taking delivery of it, or if we are working on it, it's costing us money. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the all the burdening that goes into the business, and what we do to try to make sure our flow is correct. Where that metric ties to is getting the customer what they need when they want it. It's all about lead time, and it's about, we do everything we can to deliver to the customer on the date they're intending to get it.
I was just thinking about how that would impact your customer. Like, it would definitely be helpful to them. Your customers are getting spoiled a little bit by all of this, which makes me excited. Do you think that's going to impact how they buy in the future? Will they be looking for this kind of service, this level of service that you're able to provide?
I think it is. What we're seeing, our bigger customers know that we have this capability, and they're actually working with us up front. Prior to big projects, they're coming in and saying, what would you do to solve this problem? And we're able to show up without having that physical machine and say, here's the concept, this is what it looks like, this is what we would intend to do. And to your point, they're now demanding that rolls through all projects, even the smaller ones. We'll go in and do upgrades on the machine, and they'll say, hey, can you show us that the upgrade will work, right? Can you show? Because their concern is downtime, right? They don't want us to show up at site, bring their line down, and then not be able to bring it up in a very quick turn.
That makes sense, absolutely, yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. You guys are doing really great work. You're changing the way customers buy, which is so exciting, and you're just changing the way that packaging industry works. We're really proud to work with you.
Well, thank you. We're proud to work with you too.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing your story, Brian.
Thank you.